What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Today, we'll be taking a look at Mercury and the North Node of the Moon, also known as RAHU, and what happens when these two are aspect one another in the astrological chart. So, let's get into it. What is Mercury? Mercury corresponds to our analytical intelligence. So, how we make sense logically of this thing here we call reality, how we name things, how we understand them. Of course, Mercury also deals with communication of all forms, okay? It has its hands within media. Health-wise, it corresponds to the lungs and the nervous system. Rahu, North Node of the Moon. This is the energy connected to where we are ascending to. Things we should focus on developing, okay? Qualities, experiences of the house as well as the planet. So, like I said in the intro video to this series, anytime you get Rahu conjunct a personal planet, particularly more receptive ones, you're going to get an amplification of that planet's energy. So with this being Mercury, that naturally this revs up the person's active intelligence. These are some very, very sharp thinkers. But I gotta tell you, at the same time, keep in mind, Mercury is a bit of a chameleon, okay? It's a mimic. It is great at adapting, and it is versatile. So when it is connected to the North Node, the sign and house placement is going to greatly color the function of this. So I'm going to explain to you like the common stuff that you'll find within these different connections, but I really want you to think about like if this is a conjunction and it's happening in water versus fire, what are going to be some fundamental differences there? So element and sign, okay, and then of course house are going to be very, very important. So as I say these, not surface level, but common things, really try to personalize that with if you're the person with this aspect, or like I said, however this aspect is playing out for you. Okay, so with this said, these are or have the potential to be these are intelligent people, and whether or not they're able to implement their ideas, because that's the next thing Mercury is going to be contingent on how these aspects are going. So, like I said, regardless of aspect, you're going to have someone who is intelligent and thinks quite sharply. But let's say we have like an uncomfortable position, maybe Mercury's in Pisces and then squaring, maybe Rahu in like Gemini or something. Or just it's in the 12th house, right? This may produce someone who is really a visionary mentally. Like they can know so many things and really be accurately correct about them without even having to study or whatever, just naturally inclined of having this intelligent knowing about life and circumstances. So therefore they get a lot of ideas. But in the difficult position, it's going to be hard for them to build upon that. So one of the key things of this alignment, North Node conjunct Mercury or in aspect to Mercury, is going to be the development or learning to get the most out of your intellect. So it's almost like great potential, but life is about developing that potential, perfecting this Mercury to a certain extent. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to throw this out there. Mercury naturally rules Virgo, and I always say Virgo is the more grown up, and it's also exalted within Virgo. And I always say Virgo is the more grown up version of Mercury because Mercury fully knows itself like, I want to learn and I want to implement. So that's the next thing. If you have this alignment, regardless of conjunction, sextile, square, whatever, you want to seek to make practical use of whatever it is you're curious about, whatever is your passions may lie, whatever it is your skills may be. So I want you to understand with this that mentally, say you get into a indecisive sign of like maybe Libra with a Mercury North Node conjunction in Libra, or even aspecting each other from air signs. This can produce massive indecisiveness. This can produce a confusion of purpose, wanting or biting off too much. So, in the best thing to do for this combination is to materialize off your skills. So a great thing for this Mercury to do like early on in life is to get a job. And because like I said, you know things about life. So say you get this Mercury Rahu person working at 15 and you place them like in a bank or something, or maybe 16, 17, they get a job in a bank. That can help determine their future or how they want to live within the world. And that doesn't mean saying like they're going to go be a banker, but it just may help them. Their intelligence may give them an understanding of how that world works. Okay? So then Mercury is like, okay, I know that when it comes to money, I have to have this type of attitude towards it. So I have to get motivated to do this. So like I'm saying, with this Mercury, make sure whatever it is your talent is, whatever your job, that you're applying this intelligence, because that's what you're meant to do. Okay? Let's go a little specifics here. Let's focus a little bit on the conjunction. So with the conjunction, it's the most powerful aspect. That's where you're really going to see the sharpness of or the amplification of the Mercury energy here. So these people can be really, really good talkers, okay? And then to my last point about really making, like materializing off of your talent or skills, 2 of the best actors ever hold this conjunction to communicate to the masses. The first one is the GOAT, Denzel Washington, Sun, Mercury, and North Node conjunction within the sign of Capricorn. And then the other is Samuel L. Jackson. Okay? Now, so just within, those are actors. And there's a shit ton of other people in Hollywood and in entertainment that have these Mercury North Node contacts. But in the sense of this conjunction, and it's your speaking ability. So let's say, if I'm not mistaken, I think Denzel's ends up in the 4th house. So it's dipping this Capricorn in the emotional realm. So through life experiences, Denzel developed a way to emotionally communicate. So, when he has those great scenes, we don't know where he's channeling from, but based on that alignment, it will be things from his childhood, okay, or a natural ability to communicate emotion or express emotion, okay. Now, with that said, this is communication. So naturally, the Mercury North Node person, particularly with the conjunction, is going they're going to have a unique speaking voice, cadence. It's a superpower, all right? So in very, very lamest terms, your ability to communicate is what's going to help you excel within the world. So wherever this is occurring for you, like whatever house, you want to just make sure you're communicating your needs, you're actively using your intelligence practically to the best of its ability. And when you do those things, you're going to see that people are receptive to you. Okay? So this is not the only alignment like that, but one of the beautiful things about looking at aspects of like planets is just seeing the powers behind them. So I'm letting you know, for the Mercury North Node person, you are really gifted orally, and people will gravitate towards you. So it's just a matter of you expressing that. So finding a practical way to do so. Then, in other terms, you have, this is going to be great for things like mathematics, depending on, how it's aspected, things like that. Accounting, right? Being a manager. So I've seen this like Mercury North Node second house action, or like second 10th house action, or maybe if you have an opposition with that, using your intelligence to manage others' money or manage finances, okay? Depending on the sign, there can be a technical skill required here, okay? Because I always say like this too. You got to think about it. There's someone out there, like when you start to look at like Saturn in depth, or Saturn with the North Node, you're going to find that like, oh, wow, the destiny is to have a particular experience. Like, just to use Saturn real quick, like that's someone who's destined to work hard. So in the manifestation of that, you're going to have a job within society that needs to be done, that may not always be sweet. But relating this to Mercury and the North Node, it's like the person finds, a lot of us are living in our minds or live at the Mercury level. So if when these two planets connect, it's a bit easier to find fulfillment on a mental level, okay? Because things naturally open up for you. So let's talk a little bit more about like the square or the opposition here, okay? What the square or the opposition is going to force you is really going to put this Mercury through the rigor. So it's going to throw situations at you that force you to either have to blatantly express that Mercury or develop and discipline it more. So a great example here, like I said, of like a debilitated Mercury square, maybe like a North Node in Pisces or Gemini, could be a manifestation of a learning disability, or really not having the mental concentration to excel at school within childhood, right? And then later in life, through development of the mind in other areas, you're able to like come back and conquer that. So it's one of those paths there. A next thing that I wanted to say about this Mercury, like with the opposition and things like that, is that there's an element of growing up here. So, and then I guess I would say the childhood, especially when you get the opposition here. Let's say this is happening from the 6th to the 12th. Either way, it can produce, and then maybe like say the person's has a fourth house energy to go along with this. This can produce something that happens within the childhood, whether it be traumatic or it be like an opportunity that propels you further towards your destiny. So what you'll find here is like maybe like you're from a family and you with like many siblings, but some way somehow you're the sibling that ended up being isolated, or maybe sent to like boarding school, or given an opportunity that the other siblings weren't, okay? Then when on the flip side, it can occur like in a traumatic way. So maybe there are things that you experienced that were said to be traumatic that your siblings did it, and then vice versa. So there's an element here with the opposition, particularly square can apply to, we're having to overcome setbacks from the childhood, okay? Really, really good potential for this. In like fire more fiery signs, you're gonna find things like athletic ability, or I would say even a more cunningness. So yeah, like in the potential here, particularly with the conjunction, can be of like a possible someone who's like a little bit like manipulative, or someone who, because like you can be a great salesman with this, right? And then to be a or like a lawyer, right? And then a lawyer might get a case, someone who defends someone who they know is guilty. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so that what I'm trying to get at is that there'll be like something here with like the moral compass a bit, or situations which, like I said, with you being a little bit more mentally alert, being able to use that to kind of get over on others, but not necessarily. I'm not here to say whether you should or should not, but that's just something to keep a lookout with this. And then I kind of wanted to tie what I was saying earlier about making practical use of this. Don't, like I said, with the harsher aspects, and I would say like depending on the signs and stuff too. So maybe your Mercury is conjunct Saturn, but trying this North Node. Don't cut corners. And it's particularly if you have like a strong Mercury, like a Gemini, or something like that, you may want to cut corners. But there's a process of learning how to like have patience and build and see things through with this combination. Okay, so yeah, it's a little bit about Mercury in aspect to Rahu, also known as the North Node of the Moon. All right, feel free to chime in. Let me know what you think. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, you could do so. If you need a reading, feel free to click the description link, send me an email, we'll set something up. Till next time, peace.